Hi, I'm going to talk about the normality in having conflicts in your relationships, friendships, and so on. And I want to talk about it today by taking as a jumping off point the tweet that has gone viral the last days on Twitter, where a woman was gifting, she's posting about that she was gifting a new friend 1,000 words of original poetry slash fiction. And the internet has taken off with people basically writing just fanfics about her, criticizing her and her friend, or both of them, or neither of them. Luckily, some people are not criticizing any of them, but it has been this storm against her, this wild pile-on against her, and currently that tweet is seen 2.1 million times. That's a lot. And I want to talk about this debate that has been going on Twitter about this tweet, because it's obvious that there are many people out there who is not aware of at all, first of all, how much they are just misunderstanding things they see online, how they believe that there is always a winner and a loser, and a lot of people is saying that she's autistic or that the other person is autistic. And typical, there are a lot of people defending her, but they are saying, I don't agree with her, but yes, what she did was cringe, but. That's a very typical way of supporting people. Okay, so let's read the tweet. Made a new friend. Our daughters are the same age. I loved her company. She was going through something hard, so I handwrote her 1,000 words of original poetry slash fiction, because that's how I show love. I am a deeply creative person. She said she didn't have time to read it, called it weird, and didn't even take it. My soul left my body. Re-entered my body just to die again, and I am now watching my own embarrassment from a small cloud above my house. Adult female friendships in your 30s is a horror movie, and I keep volunteering to be the first victim. Well, what is actually in this post from this woman? If she's not a woman, I am apologizing to her, but I will call this person a woman. There is actually nothing in there for readers to really know what was going on. She made a new friend. Our daughters are the same age. Well, a new friend, that can mean anything. It can mean somebody you met yesterday. It can mean, as in my life, my best friend, I have known her for more than 10 years now, and I will still in some instances call her a new friend, because I'm 46 soon, so I'm fairly old. So in comparison to the people I met when I was 6, she is a new friend, because I've only known her for more than 10 years. But I doubt that anyone would say that meeting someone yesterday and meeting someone 10 years ago is the same category. So that depends. Made a new friend. Our daughters are the same age. I loved her company. Again, it doesn't say actually what company this is. What is this? We don't know. Loved her company. Did I meet at the playground? Did I just talk with each other for half an hour after school? She was going through something hard. The friend was going through something hard. Again, there's nothing there about the hard thing. A hard thing can be having an exam tomorrow, or my whole family just died in a car crash. And going through it, what is it? We don't know what it means. Going through, okay, was it something happening in the moment? Was it something going on for a long time? Personally, I have had crises going on in my life for more than a decade. So, going through something hard, it doesn't say anything. So I handwrote 1,000 words of original poetry fiction. Okay, she handwrote her 1,000 words of original poetry fiction. Handwriting, I have a dozen different handwritings because when I was a child, I used to do homework for my friends, and I also used to fake my parents' handwriting because I'm so old that back in those days, we didn't use the computer to send messages between the home and the school, so I could just fake. I have this little book, we call it Mallebok in Norwegian. I had this little book where my parents wrote messages to the school, or the school could write messages to my parents, and the person in charge of that book was me. All pupils had this little book, and it always had to be in our backpacks. So I developed a lot of different handwritings. I have one handwriting that I kind of view as purely my own because that was the handwriting I developed as my handwriting. But still I developed all these other handwritings to fake other people. So what is handwriting? It can be anything. It can look like something, it can look like calligraphy, or it can look like it's written on the computer. 1,000 words of original poetry fiction. I counted this tweet, and it was, I'm not going to count it again, and I have forgotten, but it is almost 50 words, I think, this tweet. So it's very quick to write 1,000 words. It's very, very quickly, and if you are used to doing it by handwriting, that can go very quickly. And if she's used to writing poetry, fiction, it can go very quickly. I can write like 1,000 words for me, to write 1,000 words for me, that's, no big deal. And 1,000 words is also, if this tweet is almost 50 words, so if you scroll through Twitter and read 20 posts like this, and you do that during your day, do not lie, we all do that on social media, you have read 1,000 words. 1,000 words, it's very, 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 very little. And what was in it? We don't know. And it was original poetry fiction. Yeah, that's how she shows love. Well, it's not difficult. It's really not difficult to make up 1,000 words on your own. And she is also saying she's a deeply creative person. So, yeah, but what does that mean? Creation is anything. Poetry, fiction, creation can mean anything. She said she didn't have time to read it, called it weird, and didn't even take it. Again, what does that mean? To have time to read something. It doesn't take a lot of time to read 1,000 words, but for some people it can take a lot of time. Some people have dyslexia, that could take a lot of time to read. And if it's handwritten, you can't just get the computer to read it out for you. You have to actually read it yourself. Some people have bad eyesight. I have bad eyesight. So, but it can also be caused by, and I know this myself, I have gotten cards and gifts and letters from people when I was going through a very, very, very hard period in my life. And I just couldn't, it wasn't that it wasn't easy to read it. It wasn't that it wasn't quick to read it, but I just didn't have the emotional capacity to kind of sit and think about and ponder somebody else's words. But so again, we don't know why she didn't have time to read it. And we need to know why she called it weird. Or if she even called it weird, maybe this is just the interpretation of the friend. Maybe she said something completely different and the person heard it as weird and didn't even take it. Well, again, what does that mean? And then she's writing, my soul left my body, re-entered my body just to die again, and I'm now watching my own embarrassment from a small cloud above my house. So she's describing this feeling embarrassed. But again, what does that mean? Some people, like myself, I can use both very flowery language to describe something very mundane, and I can also use very matter-of-fact language to use something that is not mundane at all. And that's just a matter of choosing style. It doesn't say anything. So the embarrassment she is feeling, she might as well be, to other people offline, she might look like nothing happened. And then it's just this internal experience of embarrassment. And she is writing about it on Twitter, so she's not too embarrassed to take it out on Twitter. But still, she can also be really, really embarrassed. If we saw her offline, maybe she was really sitting in her bedroom, in her bed with her duvet over her head and being really, really embarrassed and trying to kind of get out of it by writing this on Twitter first and kind of trying to drag herself out of this extreme embarrassment. We just don't know. There is nothing in this post that tells us what actually happened. And she ends it with, adult female friendships in your 30s is a horror movie and I keep boiling tearing to be the first victim. Again, what does she mean by that? It's a horror movie. So what does she mean with a horror movie? Is it gore? Is it blood? And what is really happening here? We do not know. And she keeps volunteering to be the first victim. Yeah, is she feeling pity for herself? Or is she saying, you know what? Yeah, this was okay. I will keep volunteering if I am becoming a victim of people telling me that I'm a weird person. That's something I'm gonna just continue. So we do not know what actually happened in this scenario. We just don't know. There is zero information in this tweet telling us what actually happened. And for all we know, it can all be made up. I make up a lot of stories on my Twitter account. That's kind of the point with writing poetry fiction. The point of poetry fiction is to kind of make up things. So we have no idea. So let's just say that, okay, the original post, we do not know anything. But the reactions to this tweet has been from this wide variety of people and a wide variety of opinions, and people on Twitter are basically writing fanfics about this woman and this post and what actually happened. And they have so many opinions. And I think kind of maybe for me the most interesting is the people who claim to be neurodivergent or autistic, and they are saying that she is autistic and she was weird and this is what we have to stop doing, and we autists we have to learn to behave properly and so on. So let's go through this. 1. There is nothing in this tweet saying anything at all that something wrong happened. If we are to assume that there was 2 people and she actually had this conflict with her friend, did anybody do something wrong here? No, they didn't. So that's the first thing. There is actually nothing wrong going on here. Next point. Okay, 2. I again have my 2 figurines here, and we are going to say that this is the woman who wrote the 1,000 words of poetry, and this is her friend. Okay. So, she is telling her friend that I am going through something hard. This friend here is saying, oh, I will gift you 1,000 words of poetry to cheer you up or, to support you. And then this person goes, oh, you know what, no, I don't have the time for that. Okay, goodbye. That seems like something that is supposed to cause some disturbance in the emotions of both of these people. This person is weirded out, this person is embarrassed. Oh no! And they both leave. But emotions, that is normal, people. First of all, there is nothing in this post that is saying that anything wrong actually happened. And second, emotions are normal. Not all interactions between human beings are supposed to be like this. I am going through something hard. Oh no, I will support you with giving you some poetry. Oh my god, I love this poetry. Now my situation is suddenly less hard. Oh, I'm so happy, and we are both smiling. Not all interactions between human beings are supposed to be like that. And the reason why is because human beings are different from each other. These 2, they look like clones because they are molded in the same mold, but they do have different colors on them. This one is gold and pink, and this one is blue and gold. So these are 2 different people. So it's difficult for people to actually constantly guess how the other person will react to something. That is impossible in all relationships, in absolutely all relationships. No matter what, you will guess wrong in some instances. The post says that these 2 are new friends, but let us say that they are new friends in the way that I say about my best friend that I have known for more than 10 years. Do I still misunderstand her and she misunderstands me? Yeah. and we are talking with each other more than once a week. And we still misunderstand each other because that is normal. The difference is that when two people misunderstand each other, which is normal, it goes like this. Oh, I'm going through something hard. Oh, I will show my love by giving you poetry. That was kind of weird. No, I don't want to read your poetry. Oh my God, I'm so embarrassed. Well, okay, I'm gonna go home. Yeah, I'm gonna go home too. And then, hi again. You know what? I was weirded out by that poetry, but you know what? It's okay. I've been thinking about it and it was just me. It was just me. I was going through something hard and I just didn't have the emotional capacity to read it. I'm so sorry. Oh, you know what? You did not have to read that. I was just trying to show you love, and you know what? I bought you something instead. Oh, great. And then they go home again and it's all fine. And that's how relationships are. You do something wrong, you do something right. You do something wrong, you do something right, and you do something right. John Gottman, he has found that if you do something right 5 times and you do something wrong 1 time, then you will be fine. So as long as you have that, it doesn't matter. And doing things wrong and doing things right can be so small as it doesn't have to be big things, you know. I am going through something hard. Oh, I will support you by giving you poetry. You know what? No, thank you. I don't want that poetry in this situation. But you know what? I'm so happy to see that you today are wearing the skirt I gave you. Oh, so I see that you liked my skirt, and that gives me a feeling of support. So even though you gave me poetry that I don't want to read, I can see that you still love me because you are wearing the skirt I gave you. That's how small it can be. So it's just this tiny little feeling of that these are friends anyway. Even though the interaction, the main topic of the interaction goes wrong, they are still friends because they can see so much in the interaction so that it turns out to be 5 good things to 1 bad thing. So it doesn't matter, they still stay friends. In normal relationships, we are actually never meant to be perfect. And this is very typical for people with autism, personality disorders, ADHD, whatever you struggle with. Something that is very typical is that you believe that you have to get everything perfect at all times. But the magic in relationships is just that there is enough of the good things to cancel out the bad things. That is just enough. And that can also be solved in another way. Hi, I'm going through something rough and I need support. Oh, I will show you support by giving you this poetry. You know what? I do not want poetry. Oh my God, no, that's just weird. Oh my God, I'm so embarrassed. Okay, goodbye, let us go home. And then they stay at home, do not talk to each other, do not go back to say that they are sorry, but they stay at home and they regulate their own emotions. There is something out there we call emotion regulation, and I'm just going to show this handbook. It's a pretty thick thing. So they go home to each their house, they sit at home and they take time and they do so-called self-care. So even though they don't felt anything good when meeting each other, they feel so much good when being alone in their own company that it doesn't anymore matter that interaction between them were bad. So the next time they meet, they are just going on a different topic. Oh, you know what happened yesterday? Blah, 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 blah. Oh, okay, blah, 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 blah. And it's all forgotten. It's just all forgotten. The interaction that went bad is just all forgotten. So that's another way it can happen. So if you find together with your friends or spouse or family, children, whoever it is, if you just find that kind of middle ground in between agreement, it will never be perfect, but if you manage to find this, okay, in this relationship we doesn't say sorry to each other. In this relationship we go to each other's house and then we just take care of ourselves and then we come back and we just don't talk about it anymore. That's one way of doing it. You can also, as in the first example, go back and say, you know what, I'm so sorry. So they are saying sorry to each other, and in that relationship they talk about it and they become friends again like that. That's also something to do. It's the same, it doesn't matter. And in the third example, they both stay in the situation, the original situation, but this person, even though she didn't like the poetry, she sees on her friend other things that makes her feel supported. So in the situation, even though she didn't like the poetry, she still likes her friend and she still likes her friend. Okay. So, third point. Are you supposed to change yourself just because some interactions and relationships go badly? No, you're not. In some relationships, if you want people to like you in that certain situation, in that certain relationship, if you want to keep that relationship and it keeps going bad, every interaction is the 1,000-word poetry and the embarrassment, and if it's important to you to keep that relationship, then you seek help to change so that you can keep the relationship. But most relationships in our lives actually end. During your life, I'm soon 46, and during my life I have known so many people, I have met so many people, and absolutely most of them have just, we knew each other back then, and then we at one point stopped talking to each other and it just kind of floated away. And in other cases, I actively cut contact with people, but most relationships actually end. If you actually think about how many people you have known during your life, from I was born and then I got to know this family I was born into, that's a huge amount of people I don't speak to anymore. And then I went to kindergarten and I had so many other children around me in kindergarten, and I don't think I kept any of them as friends after kindergarten. I know my sister kept some of her friends in kindergarten, actually up until she became an adult. I didn't do that, but I met a lot of friends in primary school that I kept until I was an adult. So you always are in contact with so many people, and most of those relationships, they end. But you don't think about it because they ended. The thing is that the normality in it makes you not even notice it. that's how normal it is. Because it's so normal to you that you don't even think about it. You think about that very good friend you wanted to stay friends with, but it went wrong. You think about the ex you really loved, but it went wrong. So that's the thing that is being stuck in your mind. But the normal, everyday, okay, we had a relationship for some days and then it passed. And, I had friends in school, I had colleagues, I had neighbors. You don't actually think about it because it's so extremely normal. So, do not change yourself unless you have a particular reason to keep a specific relationship or friendship that goes wrong, no matter what you do. And also, yes, some people manage to end up in a very, 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 very isolated situation they don't want to be in. And they too can seek help to understand, why am I always ending up in this very, very isolated situation? But most people don't do that either. So in some very rare cases, and you would be amazed how rare these cases are, in some very rare cases, yes, you could and should seek help to change yourself to have better interactions with other people. But in absolutely most instances, including those who think that they are autistic, they might be autistic, or they might just believe that they are autistic, but in absolutely most cases in their lives too, they are just experiencing the normal types of conflicts and ebbing and flowing of relationships. Okay, so to sum it up, there was nothing in that original post giving us any kind of information that could tell us what actually happened between her and her friend offline. Still, a lot of people reacted to it. They started writing pure fanfics about her and her friend. And there was also nothing in that post that indicated that any of them actually did something wrong, because it's very, very normal to get into those situations. It's so normal that you have no reason to change them. And in most relationships that goes well, these kinds of situations are there all the time, but you have this 5-to-1 ratio of good things versus bad things. So you can mess things up all the time in your relationships and friendships, but they still keep together because there are other things that goes well. Either people are very good at self-care, or they have a lot of good things actually going on in the situations, or they come back to each other and say that they are sorry and they talk about it and so on. In some very rare cases, people could and should seek help. If you're very invested in a relationship and it goes wrong all the time, yes, seek help. If you constantly end up in a situation of isolation you are not happy with, yes, you can seek help. But in absolutely most cases, it's just very normal, and the wish to do it perfectly all the time, that's a misunderstanding in itself of relationships. Okay, I hope this made sense and that it helps some people. Okay, bye.